Liquid Lunch. It's me, Hugh, and we have Andrea Matchett joining us here at the table. Andrea,
Hi.
great to see you today.
Great to see you. It's been just about a year, I
Has
think.
it been that long already?
Yeah.
Oh, and where's that album? Oh, I have it right here. This is the album you brought the last time, right?
Yes.
Whoa.
Words and Letters.
Words and Letters. And yeah, I was very impressed at the time. It's like you're not just up there playing guitar and singing songs. They're actually, I don't know what you want to call it, really good. You know, Joni Mitchell-esque.
Oh, stop. I'm not good with compliments.
Well, I mean, we were talking before we came on today, and you mentioned that you've sort of been in the folk music scene since you were 5 years old.
Well, I've been interested in music since about the age of 5. That's when my parents first enrolled me in a music festival, Kincardine Summer Music Festival.
Okay.
So it was the first year that was on, and I was just old enough to be able to participate. And what it was it was just a whole bunch of different music lessons. So there was like a choir, and when I was 5, I learned the recorder. That was my, my instrument.
Because you could just blow into a recorder,
Yeah.
right? When you're
But
5, it took me a while to get the embouchure thing for playing trumpet. Like, I was a slow learner, and that was in high school. So
Yeah.
the recorder's easy. You just have to blow into it, right?
Well, there's also the scales and stuff, but I was 5. And then I continued with that until I was too old to participate, because it was just it was a thing meant for younger kids.
Yeah.
And it's actually a really cool festival, because during the day there's lessons, and the kids are taught by all of these professional musicians, and then at nighttime there's concerts put on by by the professional musicians. There's like a jazz section. There's like string quartet. A night for just orchestral stuff. Like it's actually quite incredible. So yeah, that's definitely where my love for music grew. I found myself thinking, I could actually do this. Like I could actually make music like these people, and survive.
And this year you're going back as one of those professional musicians,
yeah,
right?
I've been invited to go play. The date hasn't been set yet for my actual performance. It's still, the calendar stuff is still in the works, but I will be playing, and it's going to be pretty awesome to be able to go back and be one of those people that I kind of looked up to myself. So
yeah, well, that's great. Why don't we hear a song, because it was just sounded really good, and you got a new album coming out.
I do.
That you're working on.
Yes.
And I don't know what you want to play for us first, but maybe you can just tell us a little bit about it.
Well, okay, I can play one from the new album coming up. I'm hoping to have it done by August if everything goes properly,
Yeah.
but
don't tell me you're expecting problems to happen.
I'm getting kind of busy, so
busy with what? Music stuff, I hope.
Music stuff, music stuff, I'll say that.
Okay.
Just music stuff. Always music stuff. Okay, so this is one from the new album. It's called Maybe. And it's a song, I wrote it when, I was feeling kind of like a broken optimist, kind of. Like, it's like, everybody goes through crap. And everybody, gets their heart broken or whatever, but it doesn't mean that you should live in fear and, be afraid to take a chance on somebody else. Because, granted, you take a chance, you might fall or you might not. And that's what the song is about. So it's called Maybe. be careful with my heart if I decide to give it up. Please be mindful of what you do or do not do. Please be patient with my show. It might not open right away. I'll have you know I've been through hell, but I'll still try just the same. Please be careful with my heart. I've decided to give it up.
I love that song. It's awesome.
Can I seriously, I'm just, you know what? I had a really bad day yesterday, and I think I just need to do another one. Something
Okay, well,
I'm
let's
a little
wait.
more comfortable
Let's
with.
just, we'll just do the interview,
Okay.
and let's do the switching and all that, as if we're doing the interview. Thank you. Well, good thing this is the blooper reel. No, I gotta cut myself out now too. That was really nice.
Thank you.
So, how does that compare to, or the new material on this new record that you're putting together to what you did on the Words and Letters?
It's all very from the heart and just based on real life experiences, emotions. I don't know. I've always found most of my inspiration in myself, I guess, just what I'm feeling. It's important that I get it out, and it's important also that people can relate to me. And there have been times when somebody that I knew in high school or something, like maybe their parents picked up the CD for them or whatever, but I'll get a random message. Been listening to this song over and over. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And it just, you know what? It's definitely. I'm glad that my emotions can inspire something that can put somebody else at ease. I think that's.
Or maybe not at ease.
Or maybe not.
Maybe they're not at ease. Maybe it makes them cry. Or
well,
just.
Maybe. Maybe.
Because I do that sometimes. Sometimes I'll I'm DJing for myself, and I'll put on a bunch of songs these are all the songs that make me cry,
mm-hmm.
right? And I'll play them all in a row. And I don't know why that is, that people like to do that every once in a while.
It feels kind of good to have a good cry sometimes too, for sure. Kind of needed.
So, so you should be thankful you with all this tragedy and despair you're going through. That's giving you all this gold for the next record that's going to relate to so many more people.
Well, you know, everybody's got stuff that's kind of going on in their life, but I wouldn't say, like, a lot of the songs that are going on, actually all of the songs that are going on this album are pre-written. Like, they've existed for at least 4 years or something, and I'm just, you know, I went to school for engineering and stuff, so now I'm just putting all the pieces together.
Audio engineering?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You're not building bridges.
No,
Okay.
Sorry. I should have clarified. But, yeah, I don't know. It's the stuff that's going on now or later or before. I guess, yeah, it's kind of good. It acts as good fuel. But at the same time, you know, I'm a pretty happy person.
Really?
Regardless, so.
Okay, good.
I bounce back pretty fast.
Awesome. So, now, so what's different about the new record from the old record? It's different songs, but is it a different approach or a different?
Well, I mean, there's going to be. On the first one, I did add a couple of little bells and whistles here and there. There's one song. It sounds like a full band, but it's actually just me on everything but drums.
Yeah.
And this one I'm playing again with the whole studio recording ability. I guess.
Your engineering skills, right?
I'm having fun with it.
Yeah. Are you doing the engineering yourself on your own?
Yeah. Actually, I've got some help from a friend of mine who's got a studio. He just, he heard me one night live, and he said, "Can I help you work on this?" And I'm like, "Well, I have no budget." He's like, "I don't care." So
that's great.
That was really really nice. So yeah, it's not just me now that's working on it.
It must be nice to have somebody that you can work with like that's got a complementary skills.
Yeah, we actually work really well together, so I'm super grateful for that, because, you know, there's some people you just can't work with. You can't talk to them, you can't.
Oh yeah, you don't want to work with those people.
You don't even speak the same language.
So he's got a studio, like.
Yeah, he does. It's down by Cherry Beach Studios.
Is it in that same building with all those Cherry Beach practice rooms and all that?
It's by the Sound Distillery. It's like in the building right next to it.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I don't know the name of his studio, because
right.
I don't think he ever told me, but I know where it is and I know where to go. So. And
it's a super pro studio.
It's a nice studio. Yeah. He's got a nice little thing going down there. So.
Now the other record, the previous one, Words and Letters, it's still out. Like, did you record that one yourself?
I did. Yeah. Yeah, and it's available. It's available through me at shows. There's AndreaMatchett.com. Can be ordered through my website. It's also on iTunes, all the online stores. It's available in Kincardine and a few different places. That's my hometown.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah. I tried to make it pretty available there. So it's at Matchett Financial, which is my mom's business, and Jerome's Flowers and Gifts, and. I think it was available at the Rock Shop for a little while, but I think I have to restock them.
That's good.
So
they're sold out. The Rock Shop.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to do another song, then we'll come back and
sure
talk some more. What's this one? Is this from a new one or whatever you want?
Yeah, I'll do one from the old one.
Okay.
It's called Mirror. Touch your hand on mine, look into my eyes. flash me that smile. Haven't seen you for a while. Oh, I can say that it's been a while since I felt this way. It's been a long, long while. Well, you had me at hello, I didn't know what to say. You said it just so before I could look away from the mirror. It's been so long since I've seen you smile. I saw you are in dormant times. Oh, so glad to see you have awakened from your sleep. I'll try to pull you up before you ever fall too deep. Well, you had me at hello, I didn't know what to say. You said it just so before I could look away from the mirror. I would like to take a minute to thank you for your time, to thank you for your concern. I would like to take a minute to thank you for noticing, for catching me in my flow. I gotta trust in myself. I've learned, I've learned, I've learned, I've learned. Well, you had me at hello, I didn't know what to say. You said it just so before I could look away from the mirror. Well, you had me at hello, I didn't know what to say. You said it just so before I could look away from the mirror.
Very, very good.
Thank you.
Hey, when you play live, like, do you play by yourself or do you have a band, or how do you do that?
Well, I toss it up sometimes if I'm getting paid anything for playing. Sometimes I'll invite people, to come play with me who actually are familiar with my stuff and can play along. But no, generally, that's kind of my rule. A general rule of thumb is if I'm not getting paid, then I don't
Right.
ask for anything to accompany me, because it's my own decision to play for free.
Mm-hmm.
From time to time, like if it's a fundraiser, I'll usually do that by myself, or things like that.
I think that, I mean, you do. It sounds great. I don't know if it would be an improvement to add a bunch of other musicians and
Well, usually,
stuff.
sometimes I just go with accompaniment, like a djembe, or like hand percussion,
Oh,
and
yeah,
a
that would
backup
work.
vocal or something like that. Yeah, I've done that quite a few times actually, and I've got a go-to friend of mine named Mike Matchett for that. He's got his own musical stuff going on, but we kind of click musically, so that's always nice.
You know, I can also hear maybe flutes or something like that. Some
Is it-
sort of little musical compliments.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I was gonna mention the new album. I actually pick up my clarinet and try to play it again. I didn't do too bad. I was actually just working on that. I did that 2 days ago.
Just take more takes.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of a studio recording. I can, try it again, without squeak. Songs squeak. So.
Yeah. What squeak? What do you mean? I like that guitar squeak.
Oh, the sliding back and forth. Yeah.
Sometimes that's good.
The strings,
it adds to it, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, because I don't like, as a rule, I don't like live albums. I like the studio albums. Mm-hmm. But then again, often we'll hear here on the show someone like yourself playing just a simple arrangement with guitar. Mm-hmm. And then when I hear the record of the same song with the production and all the other instruments, I'm going, I like the simple version better.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something very real about acoustic music for sure. I'm trying not to float too far into the full band sound with this album, and the same goes for the last one. I know it's pretty important to kind of stick with one sound, something that's sonically reminiscent of yourself as opposed to yourself plus all of these other things. But it's just it's nice for the listener just the same. I think to hear the artist's take on maybe what a song could sound like or whatever if you just add the different things.
Everything.
Yeah.
I think the sound or the song has to find its own arrangement. That's
important. Yeah, as like if you're producing something like the first song that I played for you, maybe I wouldn't put a full band behind that. No. Like that's a song it's a very truthful song and it doesn't need anything else. The finger picking or the picking is very intricate and I haven't touched anything else on that song. It's just guitar vocal. Mm-hmm. But then for like my happier song, one of my happier songs, it's called A Million Times, and that one's got all the bells and whistles attached to it because it feels like
it needs it.
Yeah. It feels kind of naked without it. So.
Do you have any songs that are naked without the bagpipes?
No songs with bagpipes, but I certainly know a couple people I can call if I ever need them.
Oops, there's Ernest again, probably calling on the phone. We'll just have to ignore that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we won't. Hello, ThatChannel.
Hi, is this Hugh Riley?
Yeah, who's this?
Hi, this is Maria. I'm calling you on behalf of Norman Felix Gallery. We just wanted to remind you that our Contact 2012 opening reception is going to be tomorrow from 6 to 11, and we'd love to see you there.
Okay, that's great. You're still on Spadina?
Actually, we're not. We're now located at 627 Queen Street West. It's right pretty much at the corner of Queen and Bathurst on the south side.
Okay.
Queen and Bathurst on the south side.
Okay, thanks a lot. I totally appreciate it. I may see you tomorrow night.
Wonderful. And if you RSVP in the invite we sent, you can get a free drink ticket. So make sure to do that if you're coming out.
Can I RSVP twice?
Perfect. Okay, great. Well, hopefully see you there.
Okay, thanks.
Have a great day.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I'm not sure she said I could RSVP twice. Don't worry, we'll take that out.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, so why don't we do one more song?
Okay.
And we'll just come back. We'll talk about the other stuff.
Okay.
What do you want to do for us now?
I'll do one from the new one.
Yeah.
It's called In Limbo. And it's a song about wanting to stay right where you are. Life is perfect. You have everything that you ever wanted. And, the change is inevitable. But for just right now, you just really want to hold on to that moment.
Follow me as I wander through my life.
cool.
Our fault.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's a problem. Just don't.
Yeah, don't hold it in.
Don't hold
That's
it
what
in.
happened.
Are we? You know what? Yeah, we're good.
Third try's a charm.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know
great.
what? I've redone up enough stuff. I have no shame anymore. It's just, I'm not perfect.
Neither am I. Alright. No, whenever you're ready.
And just switch those cameras though.
Yeah,
Those two
I
shots.
was about to do that.
Yeah,
I
okay.
went to that.
All right.
Okay.
I'll let you.
Good. I have ghosts haunting me. They follow me as I wander through my life, never looking back because I'm so tired of what I see. Never looking ahead, afraid of what I might find. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. I like it here, wonder why I can't freeze time. Everybody's pushing me to make a move, make a change. Just a pawn in the game of chess. I'm gonna have to move eventually. Gonna have to move. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer.
Nice. Really nice.
Thanks.
So that's from the new album, which is coming out hopefully sometime this summer.
Yeah, August. I'm
Yeah.
hoping, fingers crossed.
Well, you have to come back when it's out, and you're gonna have a big release party and all that stuff.
I think so, yeah. I might take it, I might do it in Kincardine though,
Yeah.
this time. Because last year I did it in Toronto and kind of, I don't know. I just feel like it would probably go a lot better in Kincardine.
Do you
so.
have people in Kincardine that will come out because they know who you are and?
Well,
what you're
yeah.
all
I mean,
about?
there were people that came from Kincardine to Toronto
Mhm.
to see everything, but
Yeah.
I mean the ratio of people from home to the people, you know, in Toronto. I just kind of want to make it easy.
Make it for them. Yeah.
Yeah, make it easy for them. They came out for me last year, so I'll be there.
Well, maybe it'll be ready for the festival. that you're going to be playing, and then you could be selling them like hotcakes right off the stage.
That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, that's kind of the plan.
Okay. So also you're singing. You want to talk about this band, this rock band you're singing?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because that's got to be a totally different kind of.
It is. It's a lot different. I'm doing backup vocals and a bit of synth work for a band by the name of the Bloody Five. Genre-wise, they're I'll say alternative grunge rock kind of. It's very, very cool actually. The band is very cool. It's multi-generational. So you get like 30 years of musical influence. Because there's the one member. He's the oldest, and he would have grown up really loving and listening to stuff that's different than the stuff that I grew up loving and listening to. So, or like any of the others. Technically, right now I'm just a guest vocalist, but I got my fingers crossed that this can be another outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Synth playing?
Yeah.
Do you have your own synthesizer?
I do, yeah.
What is it?
It's a Korg MS 2000B. It's analog.
Is it like
I don't think they make them anymore, actually.
I used to have an M1.
Oh, really?
Is it like that? Is it older or newer than that?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
All right, that's great.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting. I like doing stuff with the band because that I can bring out a whole other animal that kind of that I'm not normally in real life, but it's almost like you put on the clothes and you become that person.
Right.
So it's just one more little thing I can have fun with.
That's great. Any gigs coming up with what are they called? Bloody Five?
Bloody Five. We're playing Lee's Palace. It's actually going to be an acoustic set. Normally it's everything electric and loud and awesome, but the acoustic set should be good too. I think that's in 2 Fridays, so whenever that is.
Well, people should just pick up the Now magazine and turn to that page where they list every band that's playing Now magazine, all those crazy names.
Yeah. And
look for the Bloody Five. And also, what's this video you mentioned, which we're going to play at the end?
Oh, yeah, I've got a music video. I had the help of a really excellent friend to put it together. And her name's Chris James. And we did a music video for the Electric Man. So that's on the first album. And
that's a song? What's it called?
The Electric Man.
The Electric Man.
Yeah.
So we're going to watch this video. So
yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Okay, so everybody can look forward to your performances at the Kincardine Festival this summer. Also, the new record coming out. Do you have a name for the album yet?
No, I don't have a name for it yet. I kind of when I build things, I don't really have an end result in mind. I don't.
It kind of emerges.
Yeah, I'm an artist. It's done when it's done.
Yeah.
When I feel that it's done and I can move on to the next and stuff. So yeah, when people ask, do you have a title in mind for the album? No, I really don't. I just kind of come up with the stuff as needed, as necessary.
I'm sure it will have the perfect title when the time is right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking forward to that. So, well, thanks for coming in today and doing this. I just love the music, especially that first one, Maybe.
Yeah,
and if people want to get and stay in touch with you, is there a website or something?
AndreaMatchett.com. That's AndreaMatchett.com. I post all my upcoming shows on there. There's also a couple of links to take you to my Twitter page or my Facebook page or, the social media stuff.
Yeah.
And then from there, yeah, I'd say the 2 places that I frequent the most in terms of social media are Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
I haven't become,
I don't even know those
Google
other
Plus
ones.
person
it's too much.
anything yet.
How many social networks do I need to join?
I have no idea. It just keeps going.
Yeah, keeps going. Okay,
Yeah.
Andrea, thanks for doing this today.
No problem.
And now we're going to watch the video for Electric Man.
Okay.
So thanks.
No problem.
Okay.
electric man has pulled the plug on me, and that's not very nice to do when I'm in a new city. But I don't mind, I just don't mind and play my guitar. When he pulled the plug, I thought I might start a fight. I thought about asking Mr. Big Shot, how do you sleep at night? Well, instead I'll sit back, relax, and play my guitar. I can only hope it doesn't last too long. I don't know how long I can make this song. It's getting dark outside, I'm starting to lose my sight. Scribble on a scrap piece of paper till there's no more light. Well, I bet he don't feel too bad, it's his job, and that's okay. I ain't gonna sit here and sob. Instead, I'll sit back, relax, and play my guitar. It's probably gonna take about a year or two until they sort out the mess down there, but I tell you, I don't mind, I'll just unwind. I'll play my guitar. I can only hope it doesn't last too long. I don't know how long I can make this song. It's getting dark outside, I'm starting to lose my sight. Scribble on a scrap piece of paper till there's no more light. Well, I found out when I looked into it, it's not my fault at all. Instead, it's the previous chick. Because of you, account number 000186428. My light switch won't do shit until you pay. But in the meantime, all that I can do is sit and wait. I guess I will sit here and play my guitar. I can only hope it doesn't last too long. I don't know how long I can make this song. It's getting dark outside, I'm starting to lose my sight. Scribble on a scrap piece of paper till there's no more light. And there was no more light. Yes, there was no more light. Hey! Dance around it, yay! There. Die, Sarah, die.
Sorry about the boob.
I am a daughter of the sun, sister of the moon, transcended through the womb of supernovas and galaxies that are traced throughout my body like chalk written in space, only to be erased and written again as something new. Do you hear the temple calling?
Hey, it's me, Hugh. Welcome back to Liquid Luncheon. We're here with Laurie Campbell from Credit Canada. And Laurie, great to have you back on the show.
Nice to be here.
So now we got talking before we came on the air here
Yes.
about the difference between what you do, and you're the guys that have the ads in the transit, right? The
Yeah,
credit ads.
all the backs of the buses, reclaim your dignity.
Yeah.
We can help you, that kind of stuff.
Right. And then we were talking about what was that other kind of company called?
We talk about debt settlement companies. It's kind of the up and coming thing right now, where they're fairly new to Ontario. They've only been around for a couple of years, and what they claim to do, and I say they claim to do, is settle your debt for a fraction of what you owe. So, for example, you may owe $50,000 in credit card debt, and they will purport to be able to settle that for $15,000.
Right.
And the problem is, of course, short on delivery, high on cost, and a lot of clients who have gone to these debt settlement companies end up at our doorstep because they've paid thousands of dollars to these companies to try to resolve their debt, and nothing's been done. So they still owe the $50,000, and suddenly they're out $5,000, if not more, to these debt settlement companies because of the fees.
Okay, so you're saying this is a relatively new phenomenon?
It's relatively new in Canada. See, they came up from the U.S., and some of the very specific ones that have come up from the U.S. were kicked out of the U.S., so to speak, through legislation, so they can't operate in the same manner in the U.S. In fact, there's huge warnings about the way these companies operate there, and the warnings have now come north, so we see the feds here in Canada and some of the provinces putting some strict warnings, if not legislation, against the operation of these companies.
Now, are there not any of these companies that are doing a good job? It kind of seems like it's a big problem, right? Like the debt.
Yeah.
Crisis
Well, debt crisis in Canada is a huge problem, right? Debt levels have never been higher.
Mark Carney's talking about it all the time.
If the federal government's talking about it and they're telling us to slow down our spending, we know it's a problem because they want us to get out there and spend to keep the economy going.
Yeah.
Well, we know it's a big problem in Canada. So what proliferates when people have problems?
Solutions.
Sometimes solutions, sometimes scams, right?
Which is just a solution that's gone wrong.
Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
do any of them deliver? Some of them may deliver something, but I would suggest, from what I'm hearing, maybe 10% of the problems are resolved. The other 90% are paying fees and not getting any service.
Okay, so this is something that I don't think we talked about the last time you were in
We
here.
didn't talk about it because, last time I was here, they weren't really
Big yet.
as crazy as they are now. And I won't name names of companies, but I'll tell you one thing. You can turn on the TV almost any given night and see Alan Thicke on the television in a commercial talking about, now, even the creditors have to take a hit. Well, the truth of the matter is, if every creditor took a hit on every debt outstanding, they'd be bankrupt. So it's not the way it works. And secondly, there's legislation in place to actually go through a process of having a debt reduced through the Bankruptcy Insolvency Act. To just say that companies can do this on their own is not possible.
Okay, but wouldn't some... So what do these companies do? Do they just say that they're going to be there and negotiate with the creditors?
Yeah, so what happens is, so somebody owes $40,000. They go into one of these companies, or they phone, because a lot of times you can't even have an appointment in person. So you phone, it's all on the phone. You say, listen, I can't pay this debt. They say, well, we'll knock it down to $12,000. You need to save $500 each month until you build up your $12,000, because people don't have any money. That's why they can't pay their creditors. So this individual starts putting $500 a month away. In the meantime, the creditors are saying, hey, wait a minute, you're not paying us. What's going on? Because they tell them not to pay the debt. So they're not paying the debt. The creditors get frustrated, start to sue the individual. They contact the company and say, I'm being sued because I thought you were going to negotiate. Company says, no, we're not negotiating until you build up your $12,000. The individual gets sued, and the company says, well, now you've got a lawsuit on there. We can't help you. And the first usually 4 to 6 months of money that's put into save up for this is fees. So 4 to 6 months later, they're still no further ahead. They may have put thousands of dollars into fees. They tell the company, look, I want out. Can I get my fees back? And the company says, no, those are non-refundable. You're out of luck.
So this is a new problem for you guys to be
It's a
dealing
new
with,
problem.
right?
The other thing they don't tell people is that their credit rating will be affected. If you're not paying your creditors, your credit rating is going to be affected. There's no way around it. And they're not really upfront about that at all.
Okay. So as we've talked about this debt problem is a big problem in Canada.
It
and
is.
it does, I mean, the way Mark Carney and other people talk about it, it could threaten the stability of the Canadian economy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's to that extent. It could significantly threaten the stability of the Canadian economy, which could put us back into a recession. And it's a fine line that the government walks, because it's not often they tell us to stop spending. You know, it's not often.
But they're looking at those numbers, and
they're
despite the
that
cautions,
frightening.
they are frightening. Do you want to just talk about what the situation is with, because we have government debt,
Yes.
federal, provincial, and municipal
debt.
Plus we have now
Personal debt.
personal debt, consumer
Exactly.
debt, right?
Yes.
So where do we stand?
I'll paint you a picture. For every dollar a Canadian makes, they owe $1.53, $1.54.
It doesn't sound so bad.
It doesn't sound bad when you put mortgages in there, right?
Exactly.
But here's the clincher, okay?
Yeah.
In 1990, for every dollar a Canadian owed, they made around $1. So it was on par. Now it's $1 to $1.54. In the U.S., at the height of the economic downturn, which, as we know, was devastating to the U.S., and they still haven't recovered, for every dollar that they made, they owed $1.65. We're creeping very close to that number. And we saw what happened in the U.S. There was a complete meltdown. Cities have not recovered. I mean, there's cities where there's massive amounts of housing on the market just for the back taxes of outstanding taxes for the municipality. So
well, that was a unique mortgage situation.
It was a unique mortgage situation. However, if we have a significant downturn in the economy, housing market is going to be the first thing to go. If the housing market goes and people start to lose jobs, they put their houses on the market even more. They put their houses on the market more, and there's nobody buying these houses, then we're going to see it
driving
tank.
Prices, and we're going to see the same problem here that
We
they
could
had
see
there.
the same problem. We're not going to have subprime lending like they had in the U.S., where they were saying, "Hey, listen, we're going to charge you 1% this year and 20% next year, so you can afford it today."
We didn't see that, but what we have seen, because as soon as that happened in the U.S., the government here, although took the credit for having the best banking system,
yes,
they saw that the house prices have continued to creep up to at an alarming pace, really.
Yes.
And they're saying we have to. Then they've been pretty good about it, trying to slow the housing market, and if it's a bubble, slow that bubble by making policy changes, by just putting messages out into the information space about, we've got to cool the debt situation, try to cool the housing market down a little bit, and it hasn't really worked.
It hasn't. It's quite interesting. You make a very good point, because, I thought for sure when we went from 35-year mortgages down to 30-year mortgages that people were going to be like, oh, well, I can't afford a 30-year mortgage. I could afford it. Maybe it was at 35 years. And some of the other initiatives they put in place, I thought for sure that would start to slow down the market a little bit.
Yeah.
It has not helped. Why? Because interest rates are so they're just so astronomically
but they need to be low.
They need to be low, because if they climb,
then
the housing market is going to tank.
And everything else is going to tank,
I know,
too.
lines of credit. I mean, we're going to be in trouble as consumers in general. So the federal government is in a very precarious situation right now.
Yeah. Well, they're talking about, too, and I've had some conversations, that this is a new, economics always changes. You can't use yesterday's solutions today.
Right.
And one of the problems they're saying, even I'm hearing from the federal government, is that what's happening now is that international buyers want to be in Canada.
Yes.
They want to own some property here. And so this international money is driving up or propping up, keeping the housing market really hot. So despite what the government says to try or implements policy to change things domestically, it's this international demand.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because I think that, internationally, the economy has not been great in many countries. And some of these countries where the economy is not so great, they still have excess money to spend
and they want
on
to come
housing
to a
in
place
Canada.
that's got a really good banking
Healthcare
system.
I say healthcare, but you say banking. The whole nine yards.
It's
It's
all
a
great.
great place to live. Let's be
Sure.
honest. So there's a number of reasons people want to come to Canada, and there's a lot of wealth out there. So this is interesting. It's interesting, and what'll happen if this bubble does burst? It'll be the Canadians themselves, not necessarily international investors, that are going to suffer the most.
Yeah. So now, from your point of view, Because you're dealing with this situation, which is it as bad as it's ever been in terms of
it's a good
consumer
question.
debt?
You were asking me, for example, before we started, whatever got you into this credit counseling area, and I said, well, that's a long story from a long time ago. But when I first started at credit counseling, which was in 1990, that was the beginning of the recession. The early 90s recession. And the late 80s, everyone was buying housing like crazy. People were buying it for investment. And these were Canadians buying it for investment. They were buying it for themselves. Interest rates were not low. But there was a mentality that the market was going to blow up. And you better get in now. Well, of course, early 90s, especially in Toronto, the market fell. The market fell, and all these people were coming into credit counseling in droves that were just throwing their hands in the air and giving away their homes. So we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that. We've gone through a recession again. We came through fairly unscathed in Canada, and we haven't seen that yet. I'm concerned, though, because here we are, and you can't even buy a house in any of the really, in the big urban communities for a reasonable amount, considering that wages have not gone up. You can't.
Well, they're affordable now while the interest rates are low.
They're affordable now where the interest rates are low and people remain house poor.
Yeah.
They're affordable now where people have access to other forms of credit. And they're using those other forms of credit sometimes to supplement their homes. But you're right, interest rates are so low. Who knew that you could get an interest rate of an open rate of 2.2%? Well,
plus I think what's happening too is people are using their homes to leverage borrowing more money. And a lot of, I've heard the stories where, they've got a credit card debt problem, which are at high interest rates. Then they go and they use the equity in their home to pay that off at a low interest rate. But then they start to ramp up their personal credit debt again.
Exactly, and we see that all the time. These lines of credit, home equity loans and consolidation loans, whatever you want to call them, for specific situations where they've basically consolidated all this credit card debt. And you're right, they come back to us a year or two later, they have this big consolidation loan or line of credit, and then they've got this other huge credit card debt. And let's be honest, the banks are quite happy to lend out money through home equity loans.
Balance sheets.
It looks great because they've got the security of the house behind them, on paper anyway, if the market falls.
Like this is what happened in the U.S. And if it does fall, first of all, it's going to pull all that value out of the marketplace, and people will now owe more than their houses are worth.
Yeah, exactly. And so not only do consumers suffer, but the banks suffer. And so, you look at what CDIC insurance is only up to $100,000. Surprising that they haven't moved that higher.
Well, because they're cutting back.
Exactly. And the risk is on the federal government, and they know that there's a risk.
Yeah. So now, in a way, I think, and I don't know if you agree, but the situation in Canada has the potential to go the same way that what happened in the U.S.
It does. Aside from as we talked about some pride lending, where we talk about how the craziness of putting people without, no income, no down payment.
Ninja.
No, nothing. Was it with the ninja? What does that stand
no
for?
Income, no job, no assets.
Yeah, exactly. So gotta love it. Gotta love it. We don't have that in Canada. We have a little bit more scrutiny. So yeah, I don't think we're going to be as severe as the U.S. In fact, the U.S. has not recovered, and they may not recover for a decade at least down the road. But what concerns me is we do have a situation that could topple over to the early 90s situation in Canada, where people were walking away from the homes. There were foreclosures. There were power sales in a way that I have not seen at all since then. Yeah.
So. Have you learned, for people that are doing similar work to what you're doing in the U.S.?
Yes.
Is there any lessons that you've been able to extract from that?
From what we do, the lessons are hard. They're hard. Bankruptcies went through the roof there. I think that the lessons we've learned is that simple life is best, obviously. Yeah. That savings are important. Now, the U.S. savings rate has surpassed Canadian savings rate, and I'm talking about consumer savings. Because you know what? When something like that happens to you, you learn to save for a rainy day. It's unfortunate it has to happen that way. But Canadians are not good savers right now at all.
Well, it doesn't make sense to save. Remember in the old days?
Yes, it does.
Well, I'm just saying, when interest rates are higher.
Yes.
I used to.
You get something for your money.
I'll tell you, when I was a kid, that was a while ago, but it was there was the Lotterio, right? And there was $100,000 prize, and I used to
Yes.
go, oh yeah, so if I won that, I just put the money in the bank, and at the interest rates of the day,
10% or 12 or
whatever it was, I was making good money just on the interest. So it
Yes.
made sense for me to save. But now when interest rates are low, it makes sense to borrow. And
Yes.
and I don't know what this, when they started using interest rates to keep inflation low, and that was in the early 80s,
Yes.
right? We've been on this low interest rate, and now we
Forever.
can't get off of
We
it,
can't get off of
because if you start to raise interest rates, you're going to put the economy in
And
a downward
inflation,
spiral.
where does that go? I mean, it just, you're right. But, you mentioned that. It's funny because my kids are 16 and 14, and I got savings bonds out for my son when he was born, so he's 16 now, and I went to cash one of them in for him the other day, and I was fascinated by the amount of interest. It was like 11%, because I
'Cause it was
bought
old.
it
Yeah.
back in the day. It was like a 12 or 13-year
Yeah.
savings bond.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, what if I'd only known
Yeah.
back then to put a lot of money. Of course, I didn't have lots of money back then anyway, but I mean, to put money into savings bonds when it was 11, 12%. And today, you want to put money in a savings bond, you can't even get I think it was 1.5.
So why bother?
Well, okay, so Hugh, my argument to that would be you got to put money away for emergency. People do not, they're living, okay,
I
you
know they
don't want to
are.
be one paycheck away from financial disaster. This is what we see at Credit Canada all the time. People coming in and they've lost their job, let's say 6 months ago. They had no savings, no emergency fund, nothing when they lost their job, and they didn't get EI or whatever. They spent the last 6 months living off credit. They come in and they owe tens of thousands of dollars on their credit cards because they had no backup plan. So I agree, yes, interest rates being low is not enticing to save, but you do need to have that emergency fund in place for emergencies. At the very least, you should be putting money away for emergencies, even if you're not getting any interest off it.
So how do you think now, how long, you don't have to say, I don't want to give away any secrets, but in this business, have you seen any trends? Like, are we on some people think we're really on the edge of a meltdown economically, that the fundamentals are very weak, that the real unemployment is higher than they say it is, and that there's real fundamental weakness in the economy that is in danger of imploding any day. But what's in your experience over the years, where do we,
it's
does that ring
interesting.
true or no?
It is interesting, and I agree. I think that there's a whole problem with people being underemployed. Not unemployed, but underemployed. They're not getting back into the market to the jobs that they had before. I think we are on the edge of a meltdown. It could go either way. I still believe it could go either way if Canadians can smarten up.
Yeah. That doesn't sound
However,
good, being
no,
on
it's
the edge
not
of a
good. And I'll tell
meltdown.
you why. Because what we're seeing in our office, this frightens me, is we're seeing a lot of elderly people come in now. Okay, it was traditionally, between 25 and 45 was the age group. You can understand. You get out of school, you start to use credit, you get a massive amount built up, and buy a house or car, whatever, and then by the time you're 45, it just blows up.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing people that are 65, 70, 75 come into our office. Now, what's the problem there? They have blown it with credit cards or with debt. They can't get back into the job market. They're on a fixed income. They're helping their adult children. Their adult children may even be living back home with them. They're helping their adult children's children. So it's a real mess. And so what frightens me about that is that this whole financial difficulty is trickled over into other generations now. You could compartmentalize it before to say, okay, it is a problem with a certain generation, we need to work on that generation. Now it's everywhere across the board. So that tells me that nobody can help anybody resolve their financial issues.
Well, there was an article, I think it was in the Globe, Margaret Wente a couple weeks ago, saying that, being a young professional today is not what it used to be. And the expectations that you once had for a stable,
decent job out of school,
decent income, just doesn't exist anymore, even for lawyers, doctors.
Yeah. And it's funny because we have clients that have come out of school, they're 25, 26, 27. They've come out with maybe a BA or a master's in something, often masters. They have a huge student loan debt, huge credit card debt because they build it up all through school. And they come out thinking they're going to get that plush job because they've worked hard. They've worked hard through school. They figure they've got a good education. It doesn't come. They may still get a minimum wage type of job.
Yeah.
And they're now living back home with their parents, trying to pay off their debt. And it's a big eye opener because they realize they cannot make it on their own. They cannot make it on their own, even in smaller communities where maybe the cost of living is a little bit cheaper.
So it seems the micro solution is to really manage your debt situation well.
It
right?
is. Absolutely. I mean, many years ago, I think it was after 9/11, I remember watching the TV one day and President Bush was out there saying, get out there and spend money.
Oh, yeah, I
get
remember
the
that.
economy going.
Yeah.
And I thought, at that time, I even thought, well, from a micro point of view, I'm not going to be the one saving the world. If someone else wants to do that, they can, because the truth of the matter is people have to be aware of their own financial situations.
But this is really, there's a fundamental paradox between from the micro view, what's good for you as a micro, and this is what happened, I think, in the Depression,
Right.
was that as soon as the stock market crash came,
Yes.
the government was operating in that micro mindset and said, times are bad, we have to stop spending,
Yes.
right? And then
Yes.
and then people didn't have the money to spend either. But then it took until who was it? Keynes, who convinced FDR
To start spending.
to spend the money,
Yes.
and that became the New Deal, right?
Yeah.
And so in a sense, what Bush was saying, what's good for the economy on a macro level is for there to be more spending.
Yes.
But on a micro level, you don't want to get yourself into trouble.
Exactly.
So there's this paradox.
There's a paradox, and the economic recovery program was all about the federal governments of both the U.S. and Canada get out there and put jobs on the market. Even if it puts the countries into bigger deficit.
Yeah.
That I do get that. However, I'm not sure. I mean, the writing's still on the wall. Whether that's going to save the country, Canada or the U.S. or whatever, from complete bankruptcy. But from a micro level, yes, you're told to get out there and spend, but you know that it's not good for your own financial well-being. So what do you do? I
Yeah.
guess the word is balance. The word is smart spending, and truthfully, you can't spend at your own peril to try to save the greater whole. It's just not going to work.
Okay, so then let's just talk about, to be clear about what you guys do at Credit Canada, because you're not like these companies that
No.
we talked about at the beginning. But what do you guys do? What's your mission?
Our mission is to educate through prevention of financial difficulty and mediation.
Okay, so somebody who's in trouble, who's on the subway, sees your ad
Yes.
and goes, I got to do something about my situation. I'm going to call Credit Canada. What's the process?
The process is we will see them in person. We can do telephone or online, but it's better to do these things in person. It certainly is more personable. We take a full look at their financial situation. We review a budget. We look at financial goals. We look at how they're managing their money and their cash flow. Look at options for them. Do they just need to manage their money better, budget better? Is there a way to get a second job? Are they living house poor? We talked about that. Do they need to take a look at some of their assets and sell them? Are they in a situation where they need to renegotiate with their creditors through a consolidation loan line of credit or something like that, and then cut up those credit cards? Do they need a debt management program where they ask creditors to stop or reduce interest? Perhaps they need to talk to a trustee in bankruptcy to look at a consumer proposal where they offer a portion of their debt to the creditors, or unfortunately, in some cases, it could be a bankruptcy where they're basically financially bankrupt because of their financial circumstances.
But through that conversation, you guys are able to identify what the best options are?
Exactly. The counselors are certified, and they but it involves a lot of disclosure. It involves, if there's a partner, get the partner in as well, because it's very hard to be in isolation when you're in a living situation with someone else and talk about your financial circumstances. So getting the partner involved is very important. Having full disclosure is very important, so the counselor can make an educated assessment of the situation.
Okay, and you mentioned mediation.
Yes.
And how does that work, and who are you mediating with?
We mediate with landlords. We mediate with creditors. Sometimes we do some mediation with couples to make sure they're on the right page financially. So one's not outspending.
You need special training for that.
You do. Yes, many a story there. One's not outspending, then one's not not out saving. So there's lots of times that we are involved in mediation as a third party to help them resolve the financial issues so that they can move forward. Because the thing that people forget is that financial problems cause so many other problems. They cause relationship problems, they cause work problems, mental health issues, can escalate with financial difficulties, alcoholism, addiction problems, and the list goes on and on and on. So by getting your finances under control, you can actually resolve a number of other issues as well.
Well, it sounds to me like, because we were talking about those debt settlement companies, but you guys kind of are not promising that you can settle these debts, but you're dealing with all the same instruments. You mentioned the consumer proposal. You're talking about mediation. You're kind of doing the same kind of work.
We are doing the same work, but we don't ask for upfront fees.
Right.
We resolve it. They can move forward. We may, if they need a consumer proposal or bankruptcy, we actually we would refer them to a trustee in bankruptcy. We don't do that ourselves.
Okay. So you're like an honest middleman.
We've been around for almost 50 years in the GTA area and across Ontario, and we're in Quebec.
Yeah.
So our service has been around for a long time.
And is it a non-profit?
We are a not-for-profit charity. Yes.
So that's amazing. And
yeah.
So how does it? I mean, how do you survive?
We survive from donations from major creditors, believe it or not. There's a number of reasons. One is that they know that they need to help be part of the solution. 2, it makes them look good. It's a goodwill gesture.
Yeah.
And 3, if everyone goes bankrupt, they're going to be bankrupt.
That's amazing. So you guys are really an essential part of the economic cycle.
For sure.
Between the creditors, the consumers, the government, and are you involved in lobbying?
We are involved in lobbying. I mean, I was on the federal task force on financial literacy. We've been lobbying heavily against debt settlement companies because we believe that they endanger people that are in very vulnerable situations, and we have been lobbying on some changes to the Bankruptcy and Insolvency Act. So certainly we lobby as what we can, when we can, on issues that we believe are important for consumer protection and consumer awareness.
Okay. So for people that know, we're talking about people that want to get in touch with you, whether they're dealing with a personal credit problem.
So it's very easy. creditcanada.com is our website.
Yeah.
And we have a 1-800 number as well. And it's 1-800-267-2272.
Okay, that's great, Laurie. Awesome, because I think it's really important, especially if we get close to that edge and we start to look into the economic abyss.
Yeah, and people don't want to talk about their financial situations. They live in a hole about it. Understandably, it's embarrassing for them. But our counseling's all confidential, and people don't have to be embarrassed. We've seen everything. And you know what? They'll feel so much better. The biggest comment we get from people after they've come to see us is, "Now I can sleep tonight." It's
like I don't know if something like this exists in the U.S. or elsewhere, but it sounds like a really uniquely Canadian approach to dealing with the problem.
It is very much so, because we are so connected with family services and community organizations that can actually take a holistic approach to the individual's needs.
Wow, that's great. Well, listen, it's great to have you back on the show. Thanks for coming in, and thanks for telling us about Credit Canada.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Laurie. So we're going to take a little break, or play some more Amy Thiessen, and then we're going to come back with more Liquor Lunch right after this here on ThatChannel.com. See you then.
She wanders home to the sea.
victim of opinion of somebody else. Well, that somebody else might not be who they say they are. And when the smoke clears and I'm finally feeling, and I even can be, couldn't trust myself, couldn't know better not to think things through, should've known better not to trust someone like you, someone like you. Oh, oh yeah. She ran through with your interrogation and never settled for a treat.
And welcome back to Liquid Lunch. It's me, Hugh, and we're here with Alexi Bracey now from Stoveless Cuisine. Alexi, great to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
And well, I know this is I'm looking forward because I know you promised me somehow the last time you were here a lemon something tart. What was it? A lemon
A lemon flan.
flan.
Yes, flan is more elegant.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully at
Yes.
some point. But and we're just talking about all things raw food, right?
Yes.
That's what we're doing today. Now, before we get into that, and you got a lovely spread here. I don't know if we could show that at least part of what Alexi brought here today. But what's new with you and with raw food?
Well, raw food has really taken off, especially within the last year in the Toronto area. There's 5 raw food restaurants in Toronto itself. There's one in Markham, there's one in Barrie, there's one in Oakville, Mississauga, Guelph. So they sort of sprouting up all over the place.
Now, I hear that raw food is really healthy.
Absolutely.
And but how did you get into it?
I was diagnosed with uterine cancer 12 years ago, and I was living in Vancouver at the time, and the raw food movement had just started, so I really got involved in that. And after doing a lot of research, I decided that the raw lifestyle was where it's at, and it's been shown scientifically that more than 95% of all illnesses are diet related. So
For
change
sure.
your diet. Change your diet.
And so is that what you did? You made
Yeah.
the switch to raw food,
Exactly.
and your cancer cleared up.
A year later, yes, I switched to raw food, organic juicing, got rid of all the toxic toiletries, household chemicals, and a year later was cancer free.
Amazing. With no other
Nothing.
treatment.
Yeah, I wasn't
Just-
going to do anything invasive. Was not prepared to.
Yeah, that is that's smart.
Yes.
And your doctors probably were horrified.
Oh, absolutely. My doctor. Well, actually, you know what? I asked for a second opinion, and the pathologist literally walked me down the hall, and his colleague reread the report.
That's it.
Yes, that's it.
That's all they can do. That's the best they can
I
do.
know.
Those guys.
So I know. So and my family doctor was appalled, totally appalled. Well, I never saw her after that. So.
Well, that's amazing. So there you go. So just you cured yourself of cancer.
Yes.
With raw food, and I've heard that story from other people as well. Mm-hmm. And so what have you learned on your journey? You've obviously learned how to prepare the foods.
Well, I was a chef already.
Okay.
I was a chef already, so I just further expanded, and I took many courses on living in Ayurvedic foods, on iridology. I'm a cancer coach and a wellness coach, so I just expanded my knowledge of health and how it relates to diet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I married the two modalities together, my new knowledge about raw food or healthy food and my experiences or my training as a chef.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I just help people incorporate more raw food into their diet, and if they have a serious or significant health challenge, a raw food could very well save their life. Raw food diet.
Okay. And have you worked with anybody that it has saved their life?
Well, actually, for example, there was one gentleman that had a gallbladder attack, and they didn't want to do any kind of surgery on him because he was a little overweight. And so I put he and his brother on a raw food alkaline detox program. His brother just kept him was there for moral support. For 5 weeks, I worked at their summer home, and collectively, over the 5-week period, they lost 75 pounds, which sounds like a lot of weight because the one gentleman lost 45 pounds. But when you weigh 450 pounds, 45 pounds is only 1/10 of your body weight. He had a gallbladder attack, and he hasn't had one since. The challenge was they were both in the food industry, and they were both Italian. So
Which means pizza and pasta.
Exactly.
And all that
And so
stuff.
all of a sudden they're eating veggies and drinking juice and that, and they loved it. I had accolades from them galore.
Wow. Okay. Well, I notice when I drink juice, it just kind of revs me up for the whole afternoon.
Absolutely.
And unlike eating something like a Big Mac or something which kind of drags you down, you know, and people can feel it. People who are sensitive to what's going on with their body.
That's right.
Before we get into the recipes and the food preparation today, did you, when you made the switch, was it a radical switch?
Overnight.
Overnight.
Literally overnight.
And then what was your experience in terms of how you felt?
More energy, definitely. Definitely more energy. Slept better at night. Looked better. You know, radiant skin, glowing eyes. That's what I get from a lot of people once they switch over to a raw food diet. Because you're feeding your body things that are alive as opposed to dead.
Right. Which is...
You know, I mean, we're the only species that eats dead food. You know, a lion kills its prey and eats it. Monkeys eat plants and nuts and seeds. Like all the species eat things that are alive, except us.
Until now, and now we're making the switch.
That's right.
And I mean, you mentioned that it's related to Ayurvedic approach, Ayurvedic medicine, which is, I guess, the Indian approach, and also iridology, which is looking at the eye to see what might be wrong with the body. But do you get into the realms of like, is it more spiritual to be eating raw food? Does it increase our vibration, our frequency?
Well, actually it would, because living food has a vibration, it's energy, and we're energy. So dead food wouldn't have that energy. And for people that are not meat eaters, for some of them, there's two reasons. For health reasons, or they don't want to take on the negative energy of the animal as it went through the slaughtering process, because it's not always done humanely. So you're taking on that fear that the animal experienced before it was, killed. So people don't want that negative energy.
And that's interesting to think about. It might sound a little woo-woo, right? But if you look at the work of Dr. Emoto,
that's right.
Right, and you put that intent into water, and animals are mostly water, right?
That's right.
So I mean, it's
and so are we.
So are we, and there's stuff that we don't know, we don't know yet.
That's
right.
right.
So we don't really know what we're doing to ourselves. But it sounds like the raw food might be a great approach, especially for people who are dealing with some serious health challenges, right?
That's right.
Okay, so what do we want to talk about today?
Well, I've got some dairy and gluten-free desserts. It seems like there's an epidemic now. Everybody has gluten sensitivities and dairy sensitivities, and dairy should not be part of your diet anyway. So I've got a selection of 3 desserts. Absolutely no dairy, no gluten, no flour, no sugar, no eggs, like just put together.
Is there something wrong with eggs?
Again, well, there's 2 ways looking at it. Somebody mentioned to me that an egg is like a fetus.
Okay.
And eggs come from chickens, which is an animal protein.
Okay.
Free range if you want.
Yeah.
But I don't eat eggs.
Well, plus you wouldn't want to cook it, I guess.
No,
right?
that's
As soon as
right.
you cook it, you're destroying the life energy, right?
That's right.
Okay.
So you can get all the protein you need from a plant-based diet. Strongest animals on the planet. A horse, a giraffe, a gorilla, hippopotamus, they're all vegetarian. You don't need...
That's what I say. We don't really need protein.
You don't need animal protein to be strong.
No. Okay, I agree.
Okay.
So what do we got here? We got some goodies.
Yes, so right here I've got a ganache cake that I'm going to ice.
Let's take a look at this. Yeah, okay.
So I've just cut up or broken up some raspberries.
What do you mean a ganache cake?
Ganache? Well, ganache is sort of a sophisticated French word for a cake that is loaded with sugar and butter, and it's very rich. But this one is just as rich, but it doesn't have sugar and butter. And so my frosting here I made with avocado to make it creamy, a little bit of maple syrup, some date paste, and I use carob rather than cacao because carob doesn't have caffeine in it.
Okay, although we like the caffeine.
Well, caffeine is an addiction, so I'm just going to...
That's why we like it.
That's right. Actually, it's the #1 addiction for women in North America.
Wow.
And so then I just flip this over. And then I'm going to ice the sides.
With that icing, I didn't realize you could use avocado in that way. I mean, it's... and I hear, you hear things like avocado is like the perfect food for humans.
That's right. Well, absolutely. It has the essential omega-3s, which is very healthy for you. And the right kind of fat, obviously. And
that looks pretty good. But is it chocolate flavored?
Absolutely. I mean, people that are real chocolate aficionados say, well, I can taste it. It's a little bit different. Well,
You
I
just
don't
have
know.
to get used to the flavor.
well, that's just it. It's
and
a different kind of chocolate. That's all I can say.
the other thing I think is people get used to how they feel. And when they get used to feeling better all the time because they're not eating all that other bad food, they're going to want to keep feeling good. It's not just the taste, it's also how you feel after you eat.
That's right. That's right. So I'm just going to pipe a border around it, decorate it with.
It's looking really good. So is that the same stuff? That little icing you're
Yeah,
putting
it's
on
the
it?
very same stuff. And then I'm going to put some raspberries on top. So this is an individual serving. You can make it bigger.
It looks like a lot of, looks big.
And then I'm going to transfer it over to the other plate, and I'm going to put a border on the bottom.
Okay. Do we do that right now? Or
I
how do we
think-
do that?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so we'll, okay, I just move this over here? Just put it on here, or?
Well,
how do
I'm
you
going to
wanna do that?
use the
Oops.
knife.
Okay. There we go.
So let's just hope this
Let's show that.
works. There we go.
Okay. So now, when you say you help people to do this, Alexi, do you like do you go into their homes and help them, or do you give them recipes?
I
or-
do private classes. I do individual classes, like group classes, and I customize programs for people. I'll send them an intake form to determine, what body organs may be compromised that may need some help. I definitely recommend a colon cleanse. And I put together a program for people so they know what to eat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, what foods to really focus on, what foods to stay away from.
Okay, that's really good.
Definitely organic,
Yeah.
juicing,
Mm-hmm.
sprouts,
Mm-hmm.
fermented vegetables,
Okay.
healthy water, like pure water, not the city water that's chlorinated and fluoridated.
Where do you get the healthy water from?
I use a system called Kangen. It's a company
I know that.
out of Japan.
I know.
80% of the schools and hospitals in Japan use Kangen water.
I know.
They happen to be the healthiest nation on the planet. Maybe they know something.
Did you drink a couple of big glasses before you came in here today?
Yes, absolutely.
I love that stuff. It
I know.
changes your mindset.
I know, and it's
Yeah.
easier to drink because it's a softer water.
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
amazing.
And then, unfortunately, all our waterways are contaminated with heavy metals. So you have to get rid of the heavy metals.
Does the Kangen do that?
Yes, there's a special filter for it as well.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
definitely.
Okay, well, you're
Definitely.
doing all the right stuff by the sound of it.
Yes.
Okay, now do we get to taste any of this?
Well,
or,
just let me finish here.
Okay.
Okay. So right over here is a macaroon crust, and I'm going to put mango filling in it, which is just pureed mango. I'm going to garnish it with a little bit of fresh mint. And
So-
then over at this end, we've got an apple timbo, and so I'm going to add a caramel sauce on this.
Now, what's that made out of?
Almond butter and dates, and I just thin it down with water.
That's it?
That's it. And if you have a sugar craving, if you have some of this in your fridge, you just go in there and just take a little dollop, and then your sugar cravings go away.
Of this?
Of the caramel sauce.
The stuff. You don't have to put maple syrup or anything like
No,
that?
it's sweet enough.
Okay. All right. Well, that's looking good. Okay. Now what?
Well, you want to try some?
I would love to try some. I don't know if we have serving plates, but I don't know. What do we need?
Well, actually, you don't
or
need
we
a
can do
serving-
that afterwards.
Yeah, we can do that afterwards. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So now what do you want to do? I guess we talk about with all these restaurants opening up. I mean,
Mhm.
here you are. This is like, as you said, you're a chef, and I mean, the presentation, everything here is fabulous. Are you thinking about working or opening up a restaurant, or?
No, actually, I'd like to have a TV show.
Really?
Yes. On raw food primarily. It could be a healthier lifestyle, but with a big focus on raw food. And a lot of it is education, because people think raw food is all salads. You're going to be eating salads forever, and that's boring.
Mhm.
There's so much more to it than that.
Mhm.
You know, if you have a dehydrator, which actually I dehydrated the apple timble in that, and so what that does, it just takes the water out, so it'll hold it together.
Mhm.
But you can do like pizza and lasagna. Pizza crust, obviously not what you think of. I use a buckwheat, and buckwheat is actually not even a wheat. It's related to the rhubarb family. And so I do the buckwheat crust with a fresh tomato sauce that has sun-dried tomatoes, fresh tomatoes, dates, fresh basil, and onion. And I put guacamole on the top with some sprouts and some chopped up red pepper. And people love it. They don't even miss the cheese. You can do lasagna. Zucchini, you slice zucchini with a mandolin, so those are your noodles. You can do fettuccine alfredo, use a potato peeler for zucchini, so that's your noodles. You can do veggie burgers. The bread always has to be flat because in a dehydrator, anything more than an inch would take forever to dehydrate. You can do falafels, you can do latkes, you can do burritos. I mean, the list just goes on and on.
You know, one of the complaints I hear about people who love food and are into food and who cook and love to cook is that if they were to make the transition to raw food, they're not cooking, they feel that there's something missing. There's a lot of restrictions on their ability to be creative through the cooking process.
Still be you can still be creative, you know, about presentation, or it's just still, you know, blending and experimenting with different tastes and flavors. As long as you address the different taste buds, you can still use your imagination.
So now, are we going to? Do you think? You're saying it's new, or you say it was starting in Vancouver when you were first out there, and now we've got 5 restaurants in Toronto area,
right,
that are raw food, and it's a growing movement. But are we going to make the transition as a society, do you think, to this? Because we've been cooking stuff for thousands of years.
I know. I don't think we will. I think more people are becoming aware of it. People that are maybe sick and tired of being sick and tired are exploring raw food. But to be 100% most people, or even 50%, I don't think it's going to happen. So I just suggest do juices, do a smoothie. Your body will say thank you.
It does.
You know,
when you take that juice in, you're saying thank you all afternoon.
Wheatgrass is like liquid cocaine in green, in the green color.
Really?
Oh,
like what does it do?
Well, it can give you a little bit of a rush if you're not used to it, but it is so healthy, absolutely so healthy. Because your red blood cells and anything green with chlorophyll, the chemical composition is very similar, except for one atom, and you need the chlorophyll to help transport oxygen and nutrients to all parts of the body. So the more dark, leafy green vegetables you can eat, the better.
Okay. Now, you know, people talk about this 50-mile diet. Have you heard about that?
Yes, I have. Well,
you want to eat stuff that's in, and this is like, because I'm into vegetables, I like to eat it. I'm not a raw yet, but I like to eat a big, and my body thanks me for eating a big salad every day, right? But that's in the winter.
That's right.
And I thought about, you know, what about the Inuit who, you know, their environment means that they have to eat mostly meat, right?
That's right.
And some people say that is natural, normal. That's the food they can get within 50 miles of where they live.
But that's what they've been raised on, and their fruits and vegetables aren't, well, they don't have it, but our fruits and vegetables are sprayed with chemicals so bad. That's why people are getting sick, because intolerances to all these pesticides and herbicides and fungicides and sprays. So it's really important to eat as much organic as you can, because fruits and vegetables are alkalizing, and in order to be healthy, your body has to be more alkaline than acid. And so those sprays render the fruits and vegetables acidic then. So any good that you think you may be getting by eating the fruits and vegetables, because they're so heavily sprayed, it sort of negates it.
So really, it's
grow your own, or, you know, support in the summertime, support your local organic farmers. They're all over the place.
Yeah. Now I heard, did you hear these rumors that they're making home gardening illegal in the US?
Yes.
And maybe in Canada too? Like they don't want us to grow our own food?
Well, you know what, there is a remedy now. It's called a tower garden, and it stands maybe about 3 feet high, and it's about this wide, and it's a round tube, and it has these holes around it, and you put soil in it that sits in a large pot. They have like 50 of them at O'Hare Airport, and out of these openings you can grow beans on this side, and basil here, and zucchini on this. And the growing season is like well into November, and it takes up less space and less soil. And so for people that live in an apartment or or don't have a garden, this is an
Or
alternative.
have a small plot in the city.
That's right.
It's almost like this, because I've heard other things where we're just, take human brain power, apply it to whatever the problem is, and we're able to come up with solutions that allow us to have high density agriculture, food production, even in an urban environment.
That's right.
Now, do you do that yourself? Do you grow?
I wish I had the
Because
time.
you kind of live out near the country.
I
right?
know. I just don't have the time. But I buy organics, so. But I wish I had the time. I just don't.
Okay. All right. So what else do we need to know? Because you got all this stuff here. What else is new with you?
I'd like to talk about sprouting.
Okay.
Sprouting means taking the seed, and all nuts and seeds have an outer coating on it that makes it very hard for us to digest. It's called phytic acid.
Mm-hmm.
So all nuts and seeds have to be soaked to remove that outer coating. Then you drain the water, and very important is to rinse. So with sprouts, seeds, you let them grow to sprouts, and they have more vitality, more nutrition in it, more concentrated. It's like a young child. You see him running and romping, and he falls and he tumbles, and you think, oh my goodness, he's broken something. But he comes back up because he's agile and he's flexible and everything, whereas an older person would break if they fell. So, like for example, a broccoli sprout has more nutritional value in it than a head of broccoli. Not to say that the head of broccoli isn't any good, but the sprouts are phytonutrients. They're more nutritionally dense, more easily to digest, and you can get your vitamins and minerals and everything you need on a daily basis if you incorporate more sprouts into your diet. It's considered the food of the future.
Really?
Well, for example, there's all this talk about the end times coming and people are going to have to leave their homes and whatever. So just supposing some disaster happens and you have to pack up and leave your home, what are you going to take, your 75 jars of preserves? Or are you going to take 10 pounds of seeds that you can sprout? Because you're going to need water to survive, and all you need is a mason jar and water for your sprouts to grow, and you can grow them in 2 days.
Okay. Now, I've heard that too about the sprouts, that at that kind of moment when that shoot first comes out and it starts to sprout, that they're just filled with this life energy.
That's right.
That
exactly.
if you eat it, that you take that life energy in.
And it's so much easier to digest too.
Now, do you do that?
I grow my own sprouts and I put them into my smoothie every day.
Okay. Now, what kind of sprouts are good for people in terms of health, but also maybe good in terms of it's easy for people to sprout them themselves?
Well, the easiest to grow are alfalfa, red clover, black lentils, broccoli, mung beans. Mung beans are very tiny like a pea, but 2 to 3 days you can grow them. So easy. The reason people have problems with sprouts is they don't drain it enough, and then mold sets in, and people say, forget it, I don't want to be bothered. So as long as there's proper drainage, by keeping your bottle on an angle so it can the water can drain out, but you've got a screen of some sort on the end so the seeds don't fall out. Very easy to do.
Now, do you help people to set up sprouting in
I
their
help them with the
houses?
sprouting. I help them with the fermenting, making kefir, the meals, the dehydrating, the juices, whatever.
Like, how does it work? Okay, so somebody wants to maybe they're dealing with cancer or some other health problem, or maybe they just want to be healthier than they've ever been before. Like, when they come and see you, like, what's the process?
I send out an intake form. There's 5 different pages of information that I gather from them, and then based on that I sort of customize what I feel would be the best options for them in terms of diet. And then I meet with them, consultation. I meet twice because I do a follow-up, see how they're doing, and then I can arrange to come into their home and do private classes, or I can tell them, I'm having some group classes next week or the week after, come join us.
And do you ever encounter people who you might suggest, I'm assuming you suggest that they switch to a completely raw diet?
If they have a significant health challenge. If not, then or try it for a week just to prove to yourself how much better you feel. And if you did nothing but a green smoothie for breakfast, not the smoothies you buy at the kiosks, because they're loaded with sugar. The greener the better. But you want to enjoy it too. You don't want to get up in the morning and go, oh gosh, I got to drink that green thing. But ease off on the sweetness.
And you get used to that after a
You
while.
do. And actually, sugar is addiction in North America too.
So once you wean yourself from it,
yeah, that's right,
you don't even appreciate it anymore.
Then
when
you
it's
think,
so
oh,
sweet.
this is too sweet, I don't want it anymore. So it's just like I say to people, do you like your maple syrup with your oatmeal, or do you like your oatmeal with your maple syrup?
I'm on both sides of that question.
Okay.
Put maple syrup on my ice cream sometimes. Now, have you written a cookbook?
It's in the process. I will have one out this year. Actually, before the end of this year, by September, my goal is. I do have a book out on detox is an inside job.
Yeah.
On natural herbal remedies, how to detoxify, because everybody should do it. I mean, people change the filter in their car and they change the filter on their furnace and their vacuum cleaner, but they don't worry about what's going on inside.
Yeah, we got to do something about that.
You know, I mean, I say to people, you've got 3 train cars going through a tunnel.
Yeah.
3 have to come out.
Uh-huh.
So if you eat 3 meals a day, you have to have 3 bowel movements.
Right.
If not, where's the one getting stuck or the 2 getting stuck?
Something stuck in that tunnel.
That's right.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, you brought that lemon tart, right? And do you want to just bring it out? And I know I don't know if I'll eat it here on the air, but do you want to just why don't we just put it down and you can just show people what that is all about.
Okay, so this is a lemon flan, and the crust is almonds and pecans with dates, and I dehydrated it a little bit just to give it a little bit of firmness, and the filling is cashews and lemon juice, and I sweeten it a little bit with some dates. And it's one of my favorite desserts. Just a hint of sweetness, not too much, more tart than sweet, but very refreshing, I think.
Well, I'm looking forward to having a bite of that, because lemon type pies and flans are among my favorite, and maybe people can see us all sharing that while we take the break. But so what's the best way for people who are resonating with what you're saying, and the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Well, they can check out my website, www.stovelesscuisine, or they can always email me at Alexi@stovelesscuisine.
Okay, so that's
.com.
stovelesscuisine.com. And that's Alexi with an I at the end.
With an
right?
I, correct.
Okay. Anything else we should mention, Alexi? Are you doing any events or presentations?
Actually, I'm going to be speaking at the Raw Fest in Toronto on Sunday, June the 10th, I believe it is.
Okay.
And then I have, at my website, I've got a series of classes in Toronto and the surrounding areas. There's a schedule there. People can check it out.
All right. So I assume you update that. So
on a regular basis.
Even if people are watching this after the fact, they can check out your website and get all the up-to-date
Absolutely.
activities that you're doing.
Yes.
Stovelesscuisine.com.
That's right.
Okay, Alexi.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing this.
My pleasure.
I'm looking forward to that lemon flan. So thanks. Okay. We're going to take a little break and come back with more right after this as Liquid Lunch continues.
Thank you.
one's called In Limbo, and it's a song about just kind of wanting to stay right where you are, being happy with your own life, and just hoping that it can stay that way, because you know, as we all know, change is a little bit inevitable. So anyhow, here it is.
I have ghosts haunting me. They follow me as I wander through my life, never looking back because I'm so tired of what I see, never looking ahead, afraid of what I might find. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. I like it here, wonder why I can't freeze time. Everybody's pushing me to make a move, make a change, just a pawn in the game of chess. I'm gonna have to move eventually. I'm gonna have to move. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. Let's just stay in limbo just a little longer. I'm very happy with that. Yeah, that was a lot better. Is it possible to start that over? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that's the beautiful thing about this new setup, Andrea. We can start again,
Okay.
even though we're going to leave it all in.
Okay.
Oh, wait, can you wait? I got a phone call.
That's fine. That's actually kind of
No,
perfect.
we're going to leave this all in.
Okay. No.
Hey, Michelle. we're in the middle of a show, but, you know, we can take calls now. Yeah. Hey, can we talk afterwards? Can I call you back? I'll call you back. Okay, bye. All right, let's try to get all this. Keep the camera switching going, and here's what I'm going to do. Hey, James, just so you know, I'm going to...
You're gonna be moving that. What
No,
camera?
this one, I'm going to move this one.
Oh, okay.
So,
So you have me a good spot for one of them then.
so this one we'll just leave because it's too hard for me to... How come we were laughing anyway, Andrea? Yeah.
Just saw the camera
Big
switch,
nerd.
like-
Yeah. Now somebody's calling. Here. Hello.
And there's a siren.
Hello. Hey, Ernest, we have to go, buddy. I'll talk later, okay? Okay, bye. Hey, okay, bye. Okay. Okay, wait, don't start yet. Well, just...
No, I'm just
okay.
practicing a little.
All right, so let's, maybe we'll close the window too, huh?
Yeah, so you'll cut all this out, right?
Unless you want the unedited. We're going to put, like, bloopers, because bloopers are the best, man.
Alright, so where do you want to
Yeah,
go from?
yeah.
Hey,
Well,
you
this
wanna
is-
do a
th-
performance part? Or just go straight to the performance?
Yeah, we'll just go straight into the performance. Do it from this camera, though. From this camera here.
No.
The other one. Do it from this camera. And then just switch back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And try to get me, sometimes I'm going to try to get the camera zooming in or out. Even
Get that as well.
as long as it looks good. As long as it's not when I'm still messing around with it. Okay.
Just remember to sit up straight. Please be careful with my heart. If I decide to give it up, please be mindful of what you do or do not do. Maybe I'll come undone. Maybe you're the one. Can I just do a different one? I'm really not comfortable right now.
Really? Why?
That's weird because I'm being recorded live. I'm weird about being recorded live.
You want me to just one shot on you? Is that it?
No.
I'll just, you know what? I'm just gonna leave this camera like this
Yeah.
because it's just
That
gonna,
was a good
so I won't be messing with it. So that's a.
Okay.
But I like that song. I want to hear that song.
Okay.
So how do
All
you make
right,
your
one more
records?
try. One more try.
This is a fabulous bloopers show. This is the best.
You're making me nervous. I'm not. I don't need people knowing that I'm nervous.
How do you make your records? We're not even live.
I don't know. I'm in the comfort of my own studio, I guess.
I know how it is. What sign are you?
I'm a Taurus.
Oh,
Is that bad?
no. Your birthday's coming up, right?
It is.
What's the date?
16th. Actually, that's pretty fun. My roommate wants to take me to my first strip joint in Niagara Falls. So I think that's what we're
With
going to
guy
do.
strippers?
Yeah.
Don't forget to sit right near the stage.
Why? So they can take all my money? All the money that I'm not making?
Remember the good old days, you didn't have to give the strippers money.
You're hilarious. Okay. You're
Okay.
awesome. So I'll give it another shot, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Okay.
But no pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That siren was perfect before. It was a perfect sound effect before.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. As it went by, I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's awesome. Nice little addition. Please be careful with my heart. If I decide to give it up, please be mindful of what you do or do not do. Maybe I'll come undone. Maybe you're the one I'd like to believe. Please be patient with my show. It might not open right away. I'll have you know I've been through hell, but I'll still try just the same. Maybe